Okay, so we're going to solve this problem where we need to factorise this expression into two non-trivial expressions over the reals. So we're just looking for two brackets here. We don't need to fully factorise this and find, for example, all of the potentially complex roots of this equation if we set this equal to 0. So just looking for two brackets, and they also have to be non-trivial, so we couldn't take, for example, just 1 times the original expression. So how are we going to do this? Well, our approach relies on a few key observations. So the first observation here is that we've got this structure of 1 plus z squared. We've got a sum of different powers of z plus 1. And this is reminiscent of a property of roots of unity with complex numbers. So to illustrate this, if we said that we had omega to the power of 5 was equal to 1, so omega was a fifth root of unity. And if we also say that omega is not equal to 1, so it's one of the non-trivial complex fifth roots of unity, then there's a property here that if we take omega to the 4 plus omega cubed plus omega squared plus omega plus 1, this sum is actually equal to 0. There's quite a nice way of seeing this intuitively, that if we take this sum, let's just label this as s, and if we were to multiply this by omega, so then we've got omega times s. We just multiply each term by omega, so add another power here. So we've got omega to the 5 plus omega to the 4 plus omega to the 3 plus omega squared plus omega. But then omega to the power of 5, because it's a fifth root of unity, this is just equal to 1. So then we can replace this by a 1, and then if we put them in descending order of powers, so we've got omega to the 4 plus omega cubed plus omega squared plus omega, and then our omega to the 5 now gives us a plus 1. So then you can see this is actually just equal to the original sum. So this is equal to s. So we've shown that omega times s is equal to s. And to make this really clear, we could even factorise this, take the s onto the left-hand side. So we'd have omega minus 1 times s is equal to 0. And then this would show then that our sum has to be equal to 0, because we know here that omega minus 1 can't be 0 because omega isn't equal to 1, so therefore s has to be equal to 0. So this shows then that our sum is equal to 0, just informally, and you can imagine how we could generalise this if we went for our nth complex roots of unity, where the sum would go up to n minus 1, replacing the 4 by n minus 1 and the 5 by n. So how does this help us? Well, if we look at this expression here, we've got almost z to the 4 plus z cubed plus z squared plus z plus 1. The only difference is we've got z to the power of 8, where we would want to have z to the power of 3. But we can work with this, because if we, let's write this out formally, if we let omega to the 5 equal 1, where omega isn't 1, so we've got a fifth complex root of unity, and then if we write out omega to the 8 plus omega to the 4 plus omega squared plus omega plus 1, you can see omega to the power of 8, we could actually rewrite this as omega to the 5 times omega cubed, and then we know that omega to the 5 is just equal to 1 because this is a fifth root of unity, so we can actually just replace this by 1 times omega cubed. So here, omega to the 8 can just be replaced by omega cubed, so this is equal to, we put them in descending order now, we've got omega to the 4 plus omega cubed plus omega squared plus omega plus 1 is equal to the original expression. And then we know that this is equal to 0 because we've just seen above this sum is always equal to 0 for these complex fifth roots of unity. So this is really interesting now because we've got 4 roots of this if we were to set this equal to 0. So we've got our 4 complex fifth roots of unity. So the first one would be e to the 2 pi I over 5. So if we raise this to the power of 5, we'd get e to the 2 pi I, which would just be 1. And we've got our other non-trivial ones at e to the 4 pi I over 5, e to the 6 pi I over 5, and finally e to the 8 pi I over 5. So these are all roots of our original expression if we set this equal to 0. So now we've got 4 roots of our original polynomial, but don't forget that these 4 complex roots of unity are also going to be roots of this equation, this sum's equal to 0. Just from the property we saw at the very start. So we're in a really interesting situation because this is a quartic polynomial, so this can only have 4 solutions. We know what all 4 of those are, and those 4 solutions are also roots of our original polynomial. So if we're in a situation where we have a polynomial and all of its roots are also roots of another polynomial, this actually means then that our quartic polynomial has to be a factor of our original polynomial. So we could proceed from here by taking our original polynomial and doing some polynomial division to divide it by this quartic to try and factorise here. There's actually a really neat argument we can follow which can sidestep having to do this. So if we write out our original expression, we can also just add in z to the power of 3, and we're also going to take away z to the power of 3. So if we rewrite this as z to the 8 minus z cubed, and then we're going to add in a z to the 3 on the right hand side here, so this is still all equal. And then from here you can see our z to the 8 minus z cubed, we could factorise this, take out a factor of z cubed, so you get z cubed times z to the 5 minus 1 plus the remainder of these terms. So just as a bit of a shorthand, I'm going to write this as being s again, so we just write this as plus s. But then you can see here that z to the 5 minus 1, if you think about what the roots of this equation are, this z to the 5 minus 1 has all four of these complex roots of unity are going to be roots of that, and then the other root is going to be 1. So we could even factorise this further. So we could write z to the 5 minus 1 as, we know that first of all our s, or z to the 4 plus z cubed plus z squared plus z plus 1 is going to be a factor, because all four roots of this are also roots of this polynomial. Then we also know that our remaining factor has to be z minus 1, because z equals 1 is going to be a solution here. That's our real root of unity there for the fifth root of unity. So we can rewrite this z to the 5 minus 1 as z minus 1 times this sum, which we can call s. So then we've rewritten our original expression as, we've got z cubed, and then we've got z to the 5 minus 1 rewritten as z minus 1 times s. And then we've also got plus another s here, so plus another 1 times s. So we can factorise this then as z cubed times z minus 1 plus another 1, all of this times our sum s. And then when we expand this bracket then, we're going to get z to the 4 minus z cubed plus 1 in brackets, and then this is multiplied by our sum s, which we'll write out in full now. So z to the 4 plus z cubed plus z squared plus z plus 1. So then you can see we've actually managed to factorise our original expression then. So I think this is really neat how we can just add and subtract z to the 3, and then we've got quite a nice, neat, simple argument here where we don't need to do any polynomial division to divide by this polynomial, but we can still manage then to factorise our original expression.